Monica is going to come and read to us from John 21, and then Andy is going to lead communion for us.
Good morning. When they had finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?" "Yes, Lord," he said, "you know that I love you." Jesus said, "Feed my lambs." Again, Jesus said, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" And he answered, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." And Jesus said, "Take care of my sheep." The third time he said to him, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter was hurt because Jesus asked him the third time, "Do you love me?" He said, "Lord, you know all these things. You know that I love you." And Jesus said, "Feed my sheep. I tell you the truth. When you were younger, you dressed yourself and went where you wanted. But now, when you are old, you will stretch out your hands and someone else will dress you and lead you where you do not want to go." Jesus said this to indicate the kind of death by which Peter would glorify God. Then he said to him, "Follow me."
One of the things you learn early on in ministry is always to have tissues ready. So if anybody needs a tissue, I've brought some with me. I don't know how on earth you get into them, but there we go. Things you should check before. Anyway, I'm going to leave them at the front because I probably will need them, but of course I've already shed a few tears, as many of you know. One occasion was when the Wednesday Lunch Club said goodbye to me last 10 days ago now. It's a wonderful group. I've loved being part of it. It's been one of the highlights of my fortnight every time. But anyway, from what I can gather, the thing they're going to miss most about me is my dad jokes. I hadn't realised how much people appreciate my jokes. So with that in mind, I need to tell you that my flamingo impression has become a bit of a source of tension between Sarah and I. Every time I do it, she complains. Things got so bad this week, I had to put my foot down. Come on, you'll miss them, won't you? Thank you. Actually, Lunch Club's been one of my great joys of my time here at Bessels. There's always so much laughter. Well, life, really. So much life in that group. Although I did have to apologise to our eldest member at our last meeting. She's 100 next month. Yeah. She was disappointed I'd never arranged the speed dating session that I'd promised to organise. True story. Seriously, we as a culture do not always honour our seniors as we should. And as I've looked back over the last month, many of the most significant people in my life and in my ministry have been the seniors. This is a picture of Eileen. Eileen was a bit like an honorary gran when I was living in London before Sarah and I got married. She was a frequent source of sausages, which is also a good point. Eileen loved to dance, as you can see in that picture there. And then when we were at college and children started arriving, I have no idea where they came from, but children kept arriving. There was Auntie Hilda. I know there's a couple of people here who remember Auntie Hilda, who provided friendship and tea and babysitting as we were adjusting to being parents and everything that college and ministry threw up. I've spoken before here about Margaret and Arthur at Margate, both in their 80s when we arrived and took us under their wing. Margaret was a midwife, and she secretly hoped that Sarah would go into labour when she was around, and she could step in and deliver one last baby. Coral and Cliff at Winchmore Hill, Joy and Arthur, who blessed us so much. And so many folks here, I'm not going to name anybody here, but so many folks we've been thinking about, so many who've gone, but who we love and who remember, who've blessed us. Folks who've walked the path of faith for decades, who have modelled Jesus to me, and in doing so have blessed me and continue to bless me far more than I deserve. And I want to honour them really today for all those folks. This is a picture that Sarah gave me for my 40th birthday. It's a painting by a guy called Mackenzie Thorpe. It carries with it the description, and after the snow came a bright yellow sun, filling the sky with love. And that image of a shepherd and its sheep is one that recurs time and again in Thorpe's work. He says this: the shepherd, he says in my work, is that all-round person. The shepherd will walk through the wilderness. He will stand atop the highest mountain. He will go without food and shelter to look after his flock. I want to be a man who will look after a child, care for his flock, protect them, love them, guide them, and nurture them. I will do whatever it takes to keep them safe and happy. And so for the last 20 years, I guess, that picture has reminded me of my calling as a husband, as a dad, and as a pastor. Mackenzie's description reminds me of the person I want to be. Like our values on the wall, their aspirations. I'm not going to claim to be there yet, but that's what I aspire to be, the person I still want to be. And when I read John 21 a couple of months ago, it was one phrase in the middle that caught my attention. Tend my sheep. It's ironic that after 30 years, I finally found a word that describes what I'm trying to do. To tend. But then life often makes more sense looking backwards than forwards, doesn't it? I guess all of us can say that actually, yes, things make more sense when we look back on them. Joseph found that out in the Old Testament. God meant it for good, he said, looking back on life with all its ups and downs. We live life forwards, but only understand it backwards. But let's think about that word, tend. Tend's a great word, I love it. It's not flashy. It doesn't draw attention to itself. It is slow, steady, consistent, and actually probably deeply unfashionable. You find that word in the New Living Translation of Genesis 2:15. The Lord God placed the man in the Garden of Eden to tend and watch over it. And when I think of tending, I think of the gardener. Tending their garden, planting the seeds, watering, weeding, pruning, looking after the soil, identifying and treating diseases and pests, and so on. It's hands-on. It means getting up close to the flowers. It requires patience and trust and hope. The gardener doesn't actually make things grow, but they cultivate and nurture the environment in such a way that the garden might flourish. And by doing that, gardeners participate in the cosmic relationship between God and the created order. And for me, that's what tending looks like. Only we do it for people, not for flowers. Creating that environment in which people can survive, can flourish even, especially when life is tough. I like to think that's what we've been doing at Bessels over these past few years. Of course, in Genesis, the vocation is corporate. It reminds us that we're not intended to be individuals and communities in competition, in some imaginary race to the top, whatever that is. We are a community of communities, charged with building healthy cultures and societies where all may flourish, the environment may flourish, and no one gets left behind, to quote that song. I was doing all right this morning until we sang that song. And then, yeah. But we forget that so often, don't we? And we forget that at our peril. But then comes our Lord's word to Peter, which is simultaneously a word to the church. Tend my sheep, each and every one of them, the rich and the poor, those the world regards as important and those the world barely recognizes, the nearby and the far away, those who've got life sorted and those who are broken. Actually, none of us have really got life sorted, have we? We're all broken to some degree or other. And perhaps the greatest gift the church can offer the world at this time, in this place, is that of a community that tends, creating the space amidst the pain and the anxiety of the world where people can flourish. That's an old photo. That's a picture of me with one of my musical heroes, a wonderful singer-songwriter called Gretchen Peters. Anyone come across Gretchen? A couple Philistines, most of you. Sorry. One of her songs begins with these words. There is love that moves a mountain. There is love that beats a drum. There is love that fights for justice, knowing that justice won't be done. There's a love that goes to prison, a love that goes to war. There's love that rows a lifeboat towards some golden shore. And then she continues. There's love that makes a cup of tea, asks you how you're doing and listens quietly, slips you $20 when your rent's behind. That's the kind of love I hope you find. She's describing tending, the love that makes a cup of tea. Tending is not about the grand gestures of lovers who want to announce their love to the world. You won't see tending in neon lights. Tending is love in quieter, gentler, practical mode. It's about being there, turning up faithfully. I guess it's about nurture. There was an article in the New Statesman recently where the author was talking about what it was like caring for his daughter, who was seriously ill. She had a medical condition which meant that she would never actually leave the hospital. He said this: love is repetition. Love is exhaustion. All parents know that, don't we? Love is taking calls from the hospital. Love is changing a feed, learning the jargon, timing the route, smiling before you enter the room. Love is staying. And that's what tending looks like. It's what I've seen time and again in ministry. I've lost count of the time over the last 30 years where I've gone to visit a congregation member in hospital only to find 1, 2, 3, even 4 church members who are already there and who will be there tomorrow and the day after. The number of meals cooked, the number of cakes baked. We've got a whole stack of them back there, I know. The £20 that has been slipped into a pocket, quietly, unobtrusively. The time taken just listening. It's one of the greatest gifts you can give to somebody in this world. Just to listen to them, to sit with them, and to give them space. The love that makes a cup of tea. Back to this picture, because I've skipped the most important part. You see, before I am a shepherd, I'm one of the sheep. Or rather, I am one who lives under the care of the good shepherd. Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me, just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father. And I lay down my life for the sheep. And we've been remembering that, haven't we, already, in communion? The shepherd who tends and spares us, who knows us in love, who gently bears us in our brokenness, who rescues us from those who would harm us. The shepherd who doesn't call us sheep, he calls us friends. He calls us children, God's children, treasured and beloved. One of my spiritual mentors, I guess, for the last 40 years is a Roman Catholic author called Henri Nouwen. And I think it was over 40 years ago he wrote this. Nobody escapes being wounded. We are all wounded people, whether physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. I know that that's true in my own heart and in yours as well. Our own tendency to muck it up, our own ego and selfishness, our unique character flaws. There's also the hurt and the pain, the grief that we carry in our own hearts. Some of us carry diagnoses that are hard to bear. Some of us worry about our kids. Most of us worry about our kids. Some of us worry about our parents. And some of us are trying to juggle both. Some of us have important relationships that are fractured. Others of us have dreams that have died over the years. Many of us can no longer bear to watch the news. And none of us are totally immune from the spirit of anxiety that is a byproduct of modern life. And actually, we have no idea how to fix it, have we? No idea how to fix it, let alone how to fix ourselves. But the gospel knows this already. The miracle of grace was never that some people grow strong enough to fix themselves. The miracle is that God meets each one of us exactly where we are and starts healing from there. Let me say that again, because lots of us never got that memo. The miracle of grace was never that some of us grow strong enough to fix ourselves. The miracle is that God meets us where we are and starts healing from there. And so we have this dual vocation, if you like, to care, but also to be cared for. to stay close enough to Jesus and to his people, that we might hear his voice, that we might meet him in bread and wine, that we might learn to flourish in all situations. God tends for us as we tend for each other. Only they're not different events. The way God tends for us is so often channeled through other people. And likewise, our acts of love and care for each other become the means by which God tends for them. God works in the spaces where we walk together tenderly and gently. Again, it's not spectacular. It's not instant. But God's ways of working in the world are rarely spectacular and rarely instant. Works like seed growing in the soil, like yeast in the dough. Growth is slow, hidden, and often unnoticed. It doesn't happen overnight, it takes time. As God's people walk together over the days, the weeks, the years, even the decades, God truly does bear us in our brokenness. He does tend us. He does heal us. Perhaps my greatest joy over the last 30 years is seeing that happen amongst the churches I've pastored. I've seen lives in this very room slowly being transformed with a healing that is deep and gradual. I've seen faith grow and mature, unrecognized gifts flower, vocations emerge, people reconciled, loneliness banished, and those who are difficult to love, loved to bits. One of my favourite examples happened here before I arrived. It involved a lonely man mourning his wife, a friendly neighbour who can't be here this morning, and a bowl of soup, which was the beginning of a journey of faith. That's what it took, a bowl of soup. I still miss Don. Give me a minute. Brothers and sisters, be kind to each other. Be gentle with each other. Tend each other. I was going to end with this verse. And now faith, hope, and love remain, these three, and the greatest of these is love. God's love for us, and the love that God puts in our hearts. I was going to end with that verse, but then I discovered another verse. It's a bit out of context, I'm afraid. Don't tell Charlie. In Galatians 5, I thought about this, having this one read, I thought it would throw you for a bit. It's in Galatians 5. Paul is talking about whether Gentiles who come to faith should be circumcised. It's a very hot and a very diversive issue in the early church. We're no stranger to that sort of issue today, are we? Issues that divide us and separate us. And Paul ends by saying that ultimately, neither circumcision or uncircumcision matters. All that matters, he says, is faith working itself out in love. So after 9 years here, 30 years pastoring and preaching, This is probably the greatest lesson I've learned. That in the end, what matters is faith working itself out in love. Thanks be to God. Thanks be to God. Amen. Come and rescue me, Charlie.
You can't go anywhere just yet. And if I could ask Noah and Sarah, I think you're